to NoteFull's YouTube series. My name is Lauren and I'm a tutor at NoteFull. For those of you who are new to the channel and new to NoteFull in general, each week we post a video on YouTube which responds to some challenging task or question. Typically we focus on the writing and speaking sections, and this week I'm going to be focusing on something a little different. I'm going to be focusing on reading. This is probably the most requested style of video where we talk about the reading and the strategies, and so I'm really excited to get into it. For those of you who are interested in participating in any of our future videos, stay tuned until the end because I'm going to explain exactly what you can do to participate. So for now, let's go ahead and get started with the reading. So for this video, what I'm going to be doing is taking these sentences out of context. This means we're not going to be focusing on the passage. We're just going to be focusing on the actual sentence itself, what we're going to be paraphrasing. And so for those of you who are a little bit confused about some of the vocabulary, if you have some questions, please be sure to comment below. We'll be glad to help you. However, what I want you to do is try to follow along to the best of your ability, certainly take notes, and make sure you're following some of the strategies that we're using here in today's video. So this sentence, I'll just read it out for us so we have that audio as well. Females are attracted to the nests for spawning because the male owners provide egg guarding services for the eggs they fertilize by chasing off predators such as bullhead catfish and by fanning the eggs to give them oxygenated water and some protection against egg-eating fungi. So that is a mouthful. That's a lot of words. It's a long sentence. And the reason I wanted to choose this one is because I focus on it a lot in tutoring, and also because I think it can be it's a good example of what a paraphrase question can look like, right? For some of you who have never taken the TOEFL, this is directly what it looks like. Sometimes they're a little bit easier. This may be one of the more challenging ones, but I think it's good to start with a challenging one. Now, to attack this, I want to make sure you have a sense of what can happen, right? And I think some of you may be familiar with this. I know I am. When I'm reading under pressure and when I'm stressed, particularly at the TOEFL, when there's some sort of time pressure, I'm not always able to focus. And this means that I read a sentence and what I may end up doing is rereading it again because I find that, oh, I didn't really absorb that, right? So this is something that's very common. I know if you have this experience, definitely comment in the box below, share your experiences because it definitely happens to a lot of us out there. And I think it's good to know that you're not the only one. Definitely happens to me. I call this looping. Basically rereading and rereading and rereading, right? So we want to try to avoid this. Now we can absolutely do this with strategy, which I'm going to get into, but I also want to give you guys the recommendation of taking some notes. Okay, this is something that a lot of students don't think about when they think about reading. A lot of students are resistant to it because they think, well, if I'm already struggling with time, how am I going to be able to write some notes down? Some students do struggle with that. Some students need that though, and I want to encourage you, if you're having this difficulty, to experiment with it because it's definitely something you can do to help you sort of isolate or separate the main points, right? This is something that I do 100% of the time when I'm at the TOEFL. Not for every question, not for the entire passage, but certainly questions like this, where we have a really long sentence to decode, right, to understand. It can be challenging, right? Some of you may understand this experience. Sometimes what I do is I read the first part of the sentence, and by the time I get to the end, I don't even remember what the first part was even saying to me. So again, this is something that note-taking can help you combat. Now let's take a look at the actual specifics of this question. What we're going to want to do is actually break it down into pieces. And how do we do that? For those of you who are familiar with English grammar, right, obviously punctuation can help us. This sentence doesn't really have any punctuation. We don't see any commas here or there. So that's going to be a little bit more tricky. Commas, though, are definitely a way to figure out when we have a new clause, right, or a new section. Another thing that we can do is look for conjunctions, right, like because, and, for, so, yet, right? These are new sections of the sentence. And the other thing we can look for is definitely adverb or adjective phrases, right, that begin with that, which. All right, these are the kinds of things that we will want to look for when it's time to break down our sentence. So with that said, what I'm going to do is take a look at it step by step. So let's take a look at the first section. It says females are attracted to the nests for spawning because. Okay, we're stopping there because is a conjunction, right? So we want to make sure we're stopping there and understanding that. Females, our subject, are attracted to, all right, something, right? So our verb are attracted to nests. All right, so we know that they're attracted to nests, and we have a preposition phrase which comes along with it, right? We have for spawning. This is the reason why. Okay, we know that because it says for. That's a preposition, right? So this is the reason why they're attracted to the nests. Or sorry, not the reason why, but they're attracted to do this there. All right, maybe you don't know what that means, but let's decode it a little bit. So females, we know that's ladies, and they're attracted to, this means drawn to. Think about the direction, okay? And also nests, we know it's something that females in nature use to lay eggs, right? Like birds, and here we're actually talking about fish, which maybe we don't know, but that's definitely the case here. So different animals, they lay their eggs in nests, right? We know spawning, if we don't know the meaning of this word, we can sort of decode it based on our knowledge of what females do in the nests, right? What is the role of the nest itself? So that can kind of help us, even if we don't know the meaning of spawning, right? But for those of you who want to know, it means laying the eggs there, right? So we have that sense. Now next, because the male owners provide egg guarding services. Now I'm going to stop here just because this preposition phrase is particularly long. All right, it says for blah, 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 blah. There's many things that these egg guarding services entail. So let's just stop here for a moment. We have the male owners. So we want to know what they're owning, right? What do you mean by owners? Well, considering the previous part of the sentence, we know that they own something. And the only thing that's in the previous previous clause is the nest, right? So it must be that the males own the nests, and they provide egg guarding services. So this basically means that they protect, all right? They protect the eggs. They protect the eggs that the women are spawning, right? The eggs that the women are laying here. So again, just kind of make your brain connect these dots. The females are attracted to this particular nest, right? Because the males who own these nests will take care of their eggs, right? Essentially. Now, by chasing off, everything beyond here is a detail, right? It's a detail of how the males sort of take care of the eggs. It says they chase off predators, and it gives you examples of the predators. It says by fanning the eggs, fanning. So I'm not sure exactly what this looks like for the fish, but it fans the eggs. It gives them oxygenated water, okay? And it also provides protection against egg-eating fungi. All right, so fungi is something that eats eggs. Even if we don't know the meaning, we know that the females wouldn't want their eggs to be eaten, right? So these are just a list of examples. Are these things important? They're definitely important to understand that there's a lot of things that the males do, but it may not be necessarily important to know every single little detail. So that's another thing to note about paraphrase. You can oftentimes cast off or discard some of those little details. Like, for instance, you saw I didn't pay attention to bullhead catfish, right? I don't really care the name of the predators. It's just an example. All I need to really know is the basic information, which is that the males chase these guys off, right? And they're predators. So now what I'm going to do is look at the answer choices, all right? And I'm going to go through them with you so you can discard them. But before I do that, I just want to point out what we just did. It took a really long time to decode that sentence. But keep in mind, I'm verbalizing all of this. I'm saying it out loud to you guys. When you're at the test center, all of these things should be going on inside your head. And again, use your note-taking if you need to. Jot down a couple of notes. Keep the main ideas in your mind. Draw pictures if you have to. This is something that I've done before on a test where I was just really stressed by the time. But make sure you are processing this information. Okay? So now the other thing I wanted to mention about that is also one of the strategies we teach for pretty much every question style is to pre-phrase your answer. Okay? This means to put the answer into your own words before you look at the choices, okay? A lot of students skip this, but it's so crucial. Now, what we've done is we've paraphrased our sentence already. So that basically means we've put it into our words already. And not only that, but we understand it a little bit better because we broke it down, we decoded it. So now we have a really good preparation to be able to choose the right answer. So let's take a look at the choices. So we have female bluegills. They're attracted to the nests of male bluegills who provide them with food. Okay. Now, I'm starting to think about this one, but I can really discard it pretty quickly, right? That word food, it doesn't have anything to do with our sentence. And we know the male bluegills did not provide them with food. We saw some examples. Fanning, protect from predators, protect from egg-eating fungi. But we never saw anything about providing food. That's just not a verb we see. It's not an object we see. So we can toss this one out. B, male bluegill nest owners attract female bluegills to spawn in the nests by providing various forms of parental care. Okay, this sounds pretty good, right? It's just switching up the language a little bit. It's saying that instead of females are attracted to, it's saying that the male bluegills attract, right? So it's just flipping the order, but it's essentially the same meaning, right? And it's, again, to spawn in the nest, so that information is correct. And it's saying they do this by chasing off predators, by fanning the eggs, by providing this protection. So it could be that, right? Parental care, it's a number of things that they're doing that cares for the eggs, right? They're the parent, right? C, predators prevent female bluegills from spawning. Okay, no. I'm going to stop right here, and I want you guys to do the same. The reason we're stopping is because predators are never a subject of our sentence, right? Predators are never preventing females from spawning in this sentence. We know that not even just from examining SVO, subject, verb, object, but just from our understanding, right? Predators didn't do anything in this sentence. I mean, not actively. We know that they're protecting against them, but nothing else that they do actively that we know of, at least not from this sentence. So we can cross this one off. Now we have D. Female bluegills are attracted to the nests for spawning because they are unable to protect their eggs from predators in other places. Okay, this one I think is something that is very attractive to students, right? It says a lot of the same things. They're attracted to, for spawning, and it says about protecting from predators. But remember, there's a number of different things that the males do. It's not just protecting from predators. But in addition, there's nothing in our sentence that says that the females themselves are unable, right? There's nothing that says that. We could perhaps infer that this is something they can't do, but we can't, identify that this is something that's true just from this sentence. And that's another key thing to remember. This is a paraphrase question, not an inference. So if you see an answer choice that seems right but takes it a step further, kind of like an inference answer would, definitely be suspicious of it because it's probably not right. And in this case, it's not right. So if we go back to the one that seemed the best option, it was B, right? So we're going to select that one. So now it's time to explain exactly what we do. Each week, as I mentioned, for those of you who are new, we take some work from our forum, which we have, and I'm going to put in a link at the description box below. A lot of students, I think, are asking for this link, so it's not in the actual video frame, But if you look down below the video, you'll see the description box. We include the NoteFull link, we include the forum link, and if you're interested in submitting your work, which is usually some writing and some speaking, definitely click that link below. You have to sign up, it's free of course, and you could submit your work. So we do look forward to next week. We're going to return to our normal schedule where we're going to be focusing on either the writing or the speaking, and I'm looking forward to it because I think it's going to be a great opportunity for all of you new students out there who are taking a test very soon. For those of you who are not new, you're of course welcome as well. So we look forward to your submissions. Thank you so much for watching this video. Click like if you liked it, and click subscribe so that you can watch all of the videos that come out in the future. All right, we'll see you next time.